Hey Nicole, it's Allison from Curio Design Studio, and this is the project walkthrough for your family room. I'm going to start out in plan view here just to kind of give you an idea of how the space is going to lay out. You have a very long room here, so we want to try to center a lot of the furniture around your built-in cabinets and create more of a cozy seating area for TV viewing. I know you have a formal living room, so this is a little bit more relaxed feel, more of a family room where you're going to be spending a lot of time. These French doors that lead out to the patio swing into this space, so it may appear that this is like a big open space on the plan, but we want to keep this area clear for traffic flow because I assume from the kitchen in and out, people are going to be using this a lot to have views from your great deck. So yeah, so we went with the sectional with a chaise rather than the 124-inch square sectional, and you can see that the 124-inch sectional, it basically would have eaten up all the floor space in your room. So by going with the sectional with this chaise here, we can create a couple more seating groupings and make the seating a little bit more flexible and add a little bit more interest with a variety of furniture. So yeah, I'm suggesting that you have the left arm facing chaise, so the chaise is by the bay windows, and that gives us room to have a little area for you to curl up and have your coffee and read a book one day. I know you said that when your kids give you enough time to do that, that's where you're going to be. So it's a nice little area with a little side table here for your coffee. And then we have room over here under this pass-through window to just repeat this chair and have a little bit more seating here. And also, if you feel like you want to have more of a formal setting, it is possible to bring both of these chairs in so they're right here, as long as they don't obstruct your view to the television, and that can kind of create a more intimate conversation zone rather than a more open TV watching plan. I'm also suggesting to just put a couple of ottomans here and here. These are just some great knit poof little ottomans, which are really kid friendly. They like to pull them all around and sit, up closer to the TV or sit over here. But it's also nice because it kind of helps balance out this empty space if you kind of set them up in front of the coffee table, but you can also pull them over here when you're sitting here and you want to kick your feet up a bit. So just swing into the space like this. So this kind of gives you a better idea as if you were standing by the TV and the built-ins looking back into your space. So yeah, you can kind of see that back in this area we have a little bit of minimal furniture, just a storage console with a really great piece of art which brings in the pops of color that you like. Overall, the walls, they're this great gray from Benjamin Moore, which is Dior gray. I'm also suggesting, which you can't see in the model, but to do the ceiling as well in the same family of color, but 2 shades lighter. So, and to keep all your trim, you've got some really great millwork and crown molding and base board and everything in this, to keep that a really crisp white for all your door trim and window trim, and then it'll really provide this great contrast between the wall and the ceiling and just really emphasize that great trim that you have going on. And again, just bringing in some pops of color. So with the pillows, with the yellow and the blue, the chair with the pop of blue, but overall the space is pretty neutral. So you've got your gray walls, a light gray rug that coordinates with the ceiling, and a neutral colored sofa, which I provided you 2 options, one with the slipcover fabric option and one with an upholstered fabric option. Both will work fine with the design, so it's just up to you which you prefer, if you want to have just like that more clean, tight look of the upholstered sofa, or you want to have the flexibility of the slip covered with your kids. So that's totally your preference. Either will work fine. I'm also just suggesting a large arc floor lamp here. So it's a great trick when you have floating furniture, is what I call furniture, not backed up against any wall. Just having this big light kind of hanging over and anchoring that space. I know you only have recessed cans in this room, so this kind of helps add the drama of maybe a pendant fixture without having to install anything. In the plan, I'm also showing, I think this would be a really great spot to just add some really tall and textural plants. So maybe like a a fiddle leaf fig or a fern or a palm tree or something that's tall and kind of has a lot of dimension and depth to it, because it's great to have it in the window, but also kind of gives you some visual interest and brings your eye over to that space with some height. And it's just an easy way to add a little bit of color and interest and texture without spending a lot of money. So this would be your view from your kitchen. Again, just a storage console here tucked up against the wall, anchoring this great piece of abstract art, which has just a bit of the pops of pink like you were interested in. I saw that repeated a lot in a lot of your Pinterest boards. So it's not overwhelming the space. It's not making the space feel too feminine, but it's just a nice, interesting way to kind of break up the color scheme and add some variety. Also, I love these metal mesh baskets. So maybe this is like an overflow toy storage area. You have a lot of storage in those built-ins, but you know, just maybe some things that transition easily between inside and outside, flip-flops, outside toys, something like that. But it's just a great way to contain them and kind of bring in that texture and that industrial touch that you like. Same thing with this lamp, just to kind of highlight this area and give it a little bit of light on this art. A really great vintage industrial style lamp is a great touch here. So the main thing, which I wrote in the design plan as optional, I know you wanted a pop of color. So this gray, it lends itself really great to these kind of cobalt blues and this mustard yellow. So my suggestion would be to take a bit of a risk and paint the back of the built-ins with this great kind of gold color. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I want to say goldenrod, but that might not be it. So once this area gets kind of filled up with your books and frames and plants and vases, and you know, you can throw a couple of more of those metal mesh baskets in here for a bit of toy storage and a bit more of that industrial touch. This won't feel as yellow. It'll be kind of eaten up by the things in front of it, but it just is a way to add a really interesting kind of unexpected touch, and it coordinates really well with the wall color. If you feel like, ooh, this is a little bit too crazy or a little bit too much color, maybe we can search out some maybe removable wallpaper options that bring in a bit of color and interest to the back of those, or you can always just paint it the same as this dark wall color and kind of really let the build-in stand out. So I'm just going to swing real quick to your design package here, so you can kind of see how everything works together. And what you didn't see in this package would be your accent pillows. So just kind of bringing in that touches of blue, yellow, and repeating the bronze and brown colors that we have throughout the furniture with just this simple pillow. And one thing I didn't touch on too is just all the windows, I think, should get this really simple, clean linen white drape, and that can just be mounted right at the top of your trim of your windows. Usually I like to mount curtains right at the ceiling height, but in this scenario, since you have that great molding up there, I don't want to take away from it, so you can mount that right there, and then those can just reach right down to the ground, and you can pull them closed when you need privacy, but mostly they will just help highlight the beautiful windows and doors that you have in this space. So I hope that I touched on everything. If you have any questions at all, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.